Well, good afternoon, cryptocurrency universe. Hope everybody's doing well. My name is Rahdi Fakhoury. I'm the CEO of Cryptolina. I'm also the Bitcoin miner on YouTube. Pretty much just started off as a guy in the garage. Started playing with building rigs and learning more and more about it. And next thing you know, the process will snowball. And personally, I think just like everybody in here, we all love blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is going to revolutionize the world as we know it. But one thing that I'm starting to notice and realize is that where is the power coming from? How are we actually powering our blockchain that we so dearly love? So this is something that I see that could potentially be a problem in the future, and we need to start thinking about it now before it gets too big of an issue. And this is where the green energy concept comes in. But at the same time, we need our home miners. We're getting more and more centralized. We need to be able to support our home miners, people that can do this at home. And there's a lot of advantages, not only just because of the money aspect, a lot of people come into this for the money, is because you can get a lot of other benefits. You can reclaim the energy. You can make a little bit of a side income. You can learn something, teach your kids about it. And this is something that will get them involved in learning more about technology. So as an example, I've actually been heating my house for the last 4 years with Bitcoin mining. I have not paid a dime in heat. I've actually been getting paid to heat my house. So these are things that I think that people need to learn and start getting into and start thinking about where and ways to reclaim the energy, ways to organize the different things that we can do. So we're working on the Cryptolina project where we're going to be using wind and solar. We're trying to help them create a more sustainable blockchain project and different ways for people that cannot do this at home, do not have the ability or don't have the capability of running a computer or dealing with it. So my question to you guys out here is, who knows or really understands blockchain? Who understands the underlying aspect of it and can actually say, hey, I get how mining works and go from there? Just kind of getting curious. If you want to raise hands? Okay, so there's a handful of people in here that really understand blockchain. So let's use Bitcoin as an example. This is the leader that brings everybody into blockchain. And they start with 10-minute blocks. These blocks are basically every 10 minutes. They go into a immutable ledger that stores all the information. Home miners, or miners in general, basically help support this network. Think of a credit card system. You have Visa. Visa basically put up a whole infrastructure that allows them to act as an intermediary to be the trusted party between this person trying to purchase something and this store. So the store trusts Visa. I, as a seller, or purchaser, don't care too much. I just pull out a credit card and buy it. But the store wants to make sure that they're getting paid and then get to charge a fee for that. So Bitcoin decentralized a lot of this, where the decentralized system acts as the person in between for the actual blockchain system. So you don't have to rely on Visa. And this is a way that people can support the system at home and make a side income. And as I was getting at, this is very beneficial, and it's actually exploding. There's people are doing this left and right. It's going all over the world. And we need to think about ways of reclaiming the energy, ways of reusing the heat. Can you use the heat to heat a greenhouse? Can you use it to heat your office? Can you use it to heat your house? And these are things to think about, and other things to go into play. So, are there any particular questions that people might have about how blockchain, where they would like to teach and educate people on it? Are there any questions that people might think of, or direct correlation? Any questions in that area?
Test. Okay. Well, do we have any direct questions? I know that on your booth out there, you have a solar panel powering some items out there.
Correct. Well, the panel's not actually powering anything right now. Right. But yeah, so the whole idea is that we're trying to mirror several different technologies in the Cryptolina project in order to create a sustainable blockchain future by using wind, solar, fuel cell technology, and biofuel technologies. And be able to do that. And of course, we still want to support people at home, so there's actually the home version, which you see out there, which you can put on your house and be able to put it on your roof and be able to generate some power. But not everybody needs to think about this. We just need to be conscious of what we're doing, how we're doing it, and just try to think of how we're going to utilize the energy, rather than just be the byproduct of heat. What can we do with it? How can we reclaim it? Type deal. I just kind of thought I'd ask some basic questions and see if anybody has any thoughts on where it might go, and I think he had his miner up here, but he took
yeah,
it.
no, I took it.
But it's amazing how the technology has changed from the little cube he had over here to now very large boxes type deal,
right.
To where they're going for massive processing power.
I was saying, any questions for Rahdi? And you've got a booth out there. Do you want to invite them to your booth?
Correct. Yeah. So we do have a booth out there.
We got
you guys.
I'd like to hear more about how you're using the waste energy from blockchain mining to heat your house, and how that works with the power company and how you manage all that.
Well, it's more or less just running a computer at your house. And essentially, I initially got into blockchain a long time ago, but I really got into it about 2015. We bought a miner, one of the traditional, I won't get into the name of it, but a miner. And I started running this thing in my living room. They're loud, they scream. My girlfriend at the time was yelling at me and saying, okay, we've got to figure out some other ways of doing this. And we started moving and putting in different locations, and we actually found that we can use your home AC system. So all we did was we cut the return on the return of your AC system, put a box in that return, and you can put your equipment inside of that box, and it filters the air as it goes through, and the heat just goes through over your coil, and then it goes into the house. So you're naturally just pumping the air into your house without any noise, without any issues of that. In the summertime, you can still get away with it because of the volume of the house, depending on how many miners you have. Obviously in the winter you can run more if you want more heat, but in the summer you can, depending on the size, let's just say 1,500 square feet, you can easily run 3 miners without it costing you too much money in AC. Just because of the volume air, it's producing about 13,000 BTUs, so it's an acceptable amount that your system can easily compensate for. And this is easily done just by literally cutting your return, putting some sort of box system into your return, and then you're just flowing it through your system. And you turn your AC fan on 24 hours a day. It's a quick jumper. Any other thoughts or questions? Sure.
Are there any ant miners that you recommend now? I know they had some that,
ant miners?
Not ant mine. Well, is that the main one that you would get now, or?
Yeah, so we only have one manufacturer of ant miners right now that were available. And that was the S9, which is currently available. There's actually a lot of manufacturers that are coming out. You never know which ones are going to survive, but there are quite a few chips that are being produced. The core is the actual ASIC. Samsung now is making 7 nanometer chips. There are a few other manufacturers that are making 7 nanometer chips. And they will probably have new hardware hit the market into the summer, towards the end of this year, is when we expect to start seeing new stuff.
All right, well, Rahdi, thank you very much. I was taking a look at your rig out there. I was going to say that's pretty impressive. If you haven't been by his booth, you want to take a look at what that's some pretty awesome equipment I saw out there. So I'm envious. Very good. I got a butterfly one. That's all I got.
That's the original hardware. That's where it started. But you just it's going.
Video cards when you go way back.
Right. We can't even use video cards these days to mine Bitcoin. It's all ASIC based.
Yeah.
And it's probably going to continue into ASICs. FPGs are starting to come into the market, but that won't mine Bitcoin. That'll mine some of the altcoins like Ethereum and some of the other ones. And there's some extremely good results coming out of FPGs. The downside of those, or FPGAs actually, of those is that you got to be a programmer. You have to be able to code. Now, hopefully there'll be more stuff that'll hit the market over time that will help make this easier for people to get involved. But for now, the main is ant miners and graphics cards. If there's any other questions, I'll be glad to answer them. If not, come by the booth and go from there.
All right.
Thanks, guys.